Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of the Graham Chronofighter Vintage GMT. This is a newer collection for Graham. It looks somewhat like some of their older ones. The Chronofighter is by no means something new, and they've had GMTs in the collection. So at first glance, this might appear as something that you see in the collection. The older GMT models were several millimeters larger. I want to say maybe 47 millimeters wide. This is 44 millimeters wide and currently available in steel. The colors are nice. This one is sort of an olivey color. I'm going to sort of just quickly turn around here. You can't see me turning my head. They call this a green sunbrush dial. It also comes in a brown, a gray, and a blue sunbrush dial. They all look pretty nice. The blue is actually quite stunning. Brown, I think, is going to be among the more interesting brown sort of vintage military style watches that are out there right now. And what you have essentially is a combination of a 30-minute chronograph, a big date indicator, and a GMT hand. The movement is a base 7750 with some modifications on. I think Le Jeu Perret might modify it. I'm not entirely sure who the modifier is. Graham calls it their Caliber G1733. It's a 4 Hertz automatic with 48 power reserve. I'm pretty sure it's a base 7750 with modifications. I'm not sure who does that. Graham uses a couple of different suppliers, Etta and Le Jeu Perret being among them. So the whole point of the Chronofighter is to have a trigger system for the chronograph, and it's pretty nifty how it works. You push down here to begin the chronograph. Actually, you know what? I haven't. The watch is not totally wound. I should probably do that. Now that leads me to an interesting quirk of the Chronofighter. You can see here the crown is kind of nestled inside of this entire trigger assembly. And so that makes it a little bit challenging when you want to manually wind it, or if you want to pull it out there and set the time. It's a little bit of an agility game there. So you see I pull it out, and I actually pull out just one stop, and I'm changing the date. And there we go. And now I'm able to set the time, and then if I put it back in, one direction sets the date and the other direction sets the GMT hand in 1 hour increments. So not that big of a deal, but a little bit of a quirk. So as you can see, the chronograph is running now, and this trigger activates the start and stop feature of the chronograph. So I'm pushing it again, stops, starts again, stops, and then this button up here is the reset. And so what they wanted to do is they wanted to put, and this is again on most of the Chronofighter watches, put this trigger assembly on the left side of the watch, that for the most part when people are wearing it on their left hand, even though I'm left-handed, I wear it on my left hand. I am of the smallest percentile. We actually did a survey a while ago, and I wanted to know what people's hand orientation is, and then depending on that, what hand they wear their watch on. And obviously being left-handed, I'm of the minority, but also being left-handed and wearing the watch on my left wrist versus my right wrist makes me a further minority. So I'm double weird. Case is 44 millimeters wide, like I said. Unidirectional rotating bezel. Usually GMTs have a bidirectional rotating bezel, but it's not really that big of a deal. And again, you have the 24-hour markers there on the bezel. Bezel insert is ceramic. That's nice. The dial design is attractive. You can see that there's a lot going on there, and I think that one of the issues that some people might have is legibility. Even though the hour and minute hand do stick out, you can see that when the chronograph hand is turning, or even when it's stationary, the counterweight of the chronograph hand and the hour hand are legitimately similar. GMT hand sticks out real nice, and that's good. There's no independent scale or 24-hour scale on the dial, so you're always going to have to use the external scale there for the GMT time. But I would say that the easiest thing to see on the dial, in addition to the 6 o'clock hour indicator, is the GMT hand. So if you love this for a GMT, you're probably going to be happy. As a chronograph, you can read it pretty well. I like those nice large chronograph sundials. That green color just looks really stunning. I think they did a really nice job getting a good shade of green there that works really well. And if you like this kind of metallic tone, I think you'll also like the brown, the gray, and the blue versions of the Chronofighter GMT. Wearability is very, very high. It's quite comfortable. Like I said, it's not the smallest watch in the world. And the good thing is, because the chronograph assembly is on the other side, you can move your wrist and not worry too much about it getting hurt or anything like that. Price is not bad on this. I mean, Graham pricing has been kind of fluctuating all over the place the last couple of years, and so I think a lot of people will see a time like this and get worried that it's, you know, very, very expensive. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a cheap watch, but it's let's just say it's less than Rolex Submariner territory, which is I think a good thing for helping the brand sort of find its sweet spot and find its niche. Price for the Graham Chronofighter Vintage GMT is 6,950 Swiss francs, so a little bit more in USD. So we're talking about $7,000. An uncommon watch, good fit and finishing, definitely distinctive looking, not something for everyone, but a fun timepiece, and with minor quirks such as the slightly difficult to operate crown and some legibility issues given the design of the dial. But I think it's attractive, it's good looking, and it's definitely fun. You can see the full review on aBlogtoWatch. Thanks.